The sky above their planet turned dark as fire rained from the stars. The peaceful Yllari people, known for their harmony and kindness, had never known war. But now, they were being hunted. Their messages, filled with fear, spread across the galaxy, an SOS begging anyone to help. Days passed, no answer, no hope, until one signal returned. It came from a planet known only in whispers, Earth. The Death World, the one place where survival meant becoming something dangerous. Soon, a human fleet appeared, silent, cold, armed beyond imagination. The Yllari watched in fear as the ships moved like hunters, not saviors. These weren't peacekeepers. They didn't send messages or warnings. They didn't even slow down. The alien elders shivered as a dark voice echoed through their minds. Help received. But the humans weren't here to talk. They were here to end something. And whatever they brought, it wasn't mercy. It was war. The human fleet didn't stop at orbit. Without a word, dozens of dark angular warships entered the Yllari skies. Their engines whispered death, and their formation was too perfect, like a blade sliding into place. The Yllari people stood frozen as the massive ships passed over cities, scanning everything with invisible beams. No communication, no explanation, just silence and preparation. High above, the Yllari Council begged for answers, sending messages in every frequency, every language. Still no reply. Just the cold presence of the Deathworlders. But then, something changed. One human ship opened its hull and deployed thousands of black drones that disappeared into the clouds. Panic began to rise. Was this a rescue, a warning, or something far worse? Then, the enemy that attacked Yllari returned, expecting to finish the job. They didn't know humans were waiting. And when the first enemy ship entered orbit, a human railgun fired. The sky lit up. The enemy ship never stood a chance. One shot from the human railgun tore it apart before it could even lock its weapons. The explosion was silent from the surface, but the light turned night into day. The Yllari watched in shock as human warships moved with deadly speed, positioning like predators around their world. The invaders tried to retreat, but it was too late. Human drones, now hidden across the planet, activated. They weren't here to invade Yllari. They were here to set traps. Enemy transports exploded mid-air. Stealth fighters never made it through the upper atmosphere. The Deathworlders had turned the entire planet into a battlefield before anyone realized it. The Yllari didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They only watched and feared, because the humans weren't fighting for thanks. They fought like something old had returned, something built to destroy. And still, not a single human voice was heard all across the Yllari cities. Their people gathered on rooftops and hills, watching the war unfold in the skies. The enemy fleet, once feared across multiple systems, was being torn apart like paper. Human railguns fired with machine precision, each blast finding its target with terrifying accuracy. The enemy tried new tactics, cloaking ships, split attacks, but it didn't matter. The Deathworlders were always 10 steps ahead. Still, not one human had stepped on the surface. Not one message had been sent. Just silence. Cold, sharp silence. It was like Earth had sent machines, not people. But deep in orbit, on the command ship Black Vow, a human general stood before a massive screen, scanning battle reports, with steady eyes. He wasn't smiling, he wasn't angry, he looked tired. "This isn't for them," he said quietly to his crew. "This is for what happened last time." No one asked what he meant. They already knew. The battle didn't last long. In just 3 hours, the enemy fleet was reduced to drifting wreckage. Burning metal fell from the sky like meteors, lighting the Yllari night with fire. But even after victory, the human fleet didn't leave. They stayed in low orbit, silent and watchful, like wolves guarding their kill. The Yllari leaders gathered again, sending peaceful greetings, offering thanks, asking questions. Still, no reply. Then finally, one human ship landed on the outskirts of a quiet Yllari village. No soldiers marched out, just one figure stepped down. a woman in a black uniform, face hidden behind a dark helmet. She walked through the village slowly, scanning everything. Children hid behind their parents. Elders whispered prayers. But the human didn't speak. She placed a small device on the ground, pressed a button, and turned away. The device hummed to life, projecting an old image. A destroyed colony. The image showed a broken world. A human colony, once full of life, now nothing but ash and twisted ruins. Smoke rose from collapsed buildings, and bodies, human and alien, lay scattered across the ground. The Yllari villagers stared, horrified. This wasn't their war. This wasn't their history. So why show it to them? Then the device spoke. A single voice, cold and tired. 200 years ago, we answered a call. We helped. We trusted, and they betrayed us. The villagers looked at each other, confused and afraid. Was this a warning? A threat? The human woman pointed to the image. This was the price. She turned back to her ship without another word, leaving the message behind. Back on the command ship, the human general gave the order. Hold position. We're not done yet. The fleet stayed in place, unmoving. Earth had come to help, but help always came with memory. And memory came with rules. As the sun rose over the Yllari world, the humans still hadn't left. Their ships formed a silent shield above the planet, unmoving, watching everything below. People on the surface began to whisper. Was this protection? Or was it occupation? No one knew what the humans wanted. No demands were made. No agreements signed. Only that one message, left behind in a broken village, kept repeating across all frequencies. The Yllari leaders met again, this time with fear in their voices. Why would they stay after the enemy is gone? One asked. Maybe they think we were part of it, said another. Then came a new signal. Not from the humans, but from the edge of the system. A small alien ship, damaged and hiding. It tried to flee the moment it was detected, but a human cruiser intercepted it in seconds. Instead of destroying it, they boarded. What the humans found inside changed everything. Because the pilot wasn't from the enemy. He was Yllari. The human boarding team dragged the Yllari pilot into the light, his uniform scorched, his face covered in guilt. Back on the command ship, the human general stared at the transmission, silent as the truth unfolded. The pilot confessed everything. 2 centuries ago, during the human expansion era, his ancestors had secretly allied with the enemy faction. They had helped ambush a peaceful human colony, believing it would give them more power in the galaxy. But when the betrayal was complete, the enemy had turned on them too, wiping out half their worlds in retaliation. The Yllari government had buried the truth. Records were destroyed, witnesses silenced, history rewritten. For generations, the lie held strong, but Earth never forgot. The general didn't speak. He didn't have to. The crew already knew what would happen next. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about making sure it never happened again. The news of the pilot's confession spread quickly, shaking the Yllari leadership to their core. Trust shattered, old alliances broken. The humans made it clear. They were not here to play politics or negotiate. They were here to enforce justice. Back on Earth, the memory of the lost colony burned deep in every soldier's heart. The Deathworlders, humans, hardened by centuries of war and survival, had come to protect, but also to punish those who betrayed them. The human fleet remained on alert, scanning for any sign of hidden enemies or traitors. Their weapons stayed ready, their silence heavy, with warning. And across the stars, those who once betrayed humanity whispered fearfully, "The Deathworlders do not forget. They do not forgive easily." The Yllari, caught between relief and fear, realized one thing. Earth's help was a shield and a sword. The galaxy had changed forever. The Yllari people watched the stars as the human fleet prepared to leave. Silence stretched across their world, heavy with questions and new fears. The humans had come as saviors, but left behind a warning stronger than any weapon. They would protect their allies, but betrayal would cost everything. The human general looked out from the bridge of the command ship, his eyes hard but calm. "We gave them a chance," he said softly. "Now they know what happens when you call for help and don't mean it." As the fleet jumped to light speed, the Yllari understood the truth. In this vast, dangerous universe, peace was fragile, and trust was earned with blood and fire. The Deathworlders had come, and they had changed the game forever. The galaxy would never be the same, and somewhere, far beyond the stars, a new enemy watched and waited, knowing a storm was coming.